Okay, going back to the dinim of Nissan, the minhagim of Nissan. So we're learning about Mos Chitim, No Tachnun, the Nasi, and various things. Okay, the Mishnah says that if you walk out during the month of Nissan and you see fruit trees that are beginning to sprout, beginning to blossom, so there's a bracha that you make. Hashem didn't make anything lacking. Hashem created nice creations, nice trees, that people should benefit from. So the din is that you have to make a bracha. Now it's not a bracha that you're obligated, that you must go do. It says if you walk in the street and you see the fruit trees, you make a bracha. It's like there's different types of mitzvahs. Like there's a mitzvahs that you're obligated to do. Like tefillin, you have an obligation to do tefillin. You have an obligation to do lulav. Shabbos, there's Shabbos. Those are mitzvahs you have to do. Then there are certain mitzvahs you don't have to do. If a situation comes up, then you need to do the mitzvah. For instance, there's one of the mitzvahs in the Torah, you have to shchita. You have to slaughter the meat according to halacha. Now what does that mean? There's no obligation to eat meat and therefore go slaughter a cow. If you want to eat meat, then you have a mitzvah of shchita. If you don't want to eat meat, there's no mitzvah, you have to go do shchita. Or a mezuzah, let's say. If you have a house, you need a mezuzah. And if you don't have a house, you want to live in the park bench, so then you don't need a mezuzah. There's one of the mitzvahs in the Torah to divorce your wife. That doesn't mean it's a mitzvah. It's one of the 613 mitzvahs, the mitzvah of a get, right? It's not chas v'shalom, there's a mitzvah to divorce your wife. If, God forbid, you're getting divorced, so there's a mitzvah to do it with a get. So, things like that. Then you have the same thing with brachas. There's a lot of brachas, especially birchas and nenin. Like, for instance, you have brachas for mitzvahs. Birchas and mitzvah. So then, when you do a mitzvah, you're supposed to make a bracha. You put on tefillin, talis, whatever, you make a bracha. Then there are certain brachas that you don't need to make. If it comes to you, so to speak, then first, if there's a din, if you see the Pacific Ocean, there's a bracha, you say, Baruch atah eisa ma'aseh bereishis. If you see an elephant, there's a bracha, Baruch atah meshana habriyos. Hashem created weird creatures. That doesn't mean a person's obligated to go to the zoo to see an elephant to make a bracha meshana habriyos. If you happen to see an elephant, you may. If you go to even then, like today, nobody in California makes a bracha when they see the Pacific Ocean, because it's common. We're always one second. We're always seeing it. So the same thing with a lot of brachas like that. If it comes, there's a bracha on thunder and lightning. Yeah? So if there's no thunder and lightning, you don't make the bracha. You're not obligated to go to a thunderstorm to be able to make a bracha. So there's certain brachas you have to make. Certain, like before food, you have to, it's brachas, not brachas of a mitzvah, it's bracha of enjoying the world. So you have an obligation to make a bracha. But there's certain brachas, certain brachas that if it comes to you, then you make a bracha. If it doesn't come to you, what? What are you doing?
So if you see a mountain that's not common enough where you do make the bracha,
again, today, the poskim, right, today people are very lax with these brachas.
if you see
Kushi. Today you've been saying the bracha all day. If you see a kushi, what depends which neighborhood you live in.
I thought there was a mitzvah to go to Africa to see the elephant in the natural setting and say the bracha.
I think it's a good idea. We will send you representing the shul. We will not pay your ticket, but you could represent us. And I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea. Go for Pesach to the Safaris. Okay, anyway, so the bracha is, if you see the tree beginning to blossom, so then you make a bracha. Once it blossomed already, then you can't make a bracha anymore. So according to many opinions, you're supposed to make the bracha when you see two fruit trees. It says it'll be a fruit tree, but some poskim write it should be Ilonis Tevis, you're saying, so it should be 2 fruit trees. Another thing is, there's a machlekes, the Mishnah uses the expression if you go out in the month of Nissan. But there are poskim that hold you could do it in Adar or Iyar. Well, it could be an early blossom, a late blossom. But the Rebbe, and in fact, Sefer Shulchan says you could do it in Adar or Iyar. But the Rebbe writes, and according to the Alter Rebbe, no, you can only do it in the month of Nissan. So you can't do it earlier, you can't do it later. So ideally, the first time you see it, you should go make the bracha. But if not, even if you did make the bracha the first time, as long as it's still in the month of Nisan, you can make the bracha. What did you want?
It has to be before it blossoms, or right?
When it starts blossoming.
What does it mean?
What?
Also Nissan.
The what?
By Kiah.
No.
Also Nissan do that.
Chotzer, what do you mean?
By Kiah to
What? Understand what you're asking?
You carry something to the neighbor.
No.
You carry to here, so you do it well car.
Yeah, but that's again, you don't have, it's a bracha that if you do it, you have to make a bracha. If you're doing the mitzvah, you have to make a bracha. If not, you don't.
Is that after it blossoms, you can't say that?
After it's finished, if the fruit's growing on it already, it's not blossoming anymore. It's too late for the
As
bracha.
long as it's a flower.
Correct. And women have a minhag of doing it. In fact, you can even do it on Shabbos and Yom Tov. You can make the bracha. If you know the bracha by heart, you take a siddur. But it's interesting. I mean, listen, in California, there's a lot of fruit trees all over the place. But you go to New York, Chicago, sometimes you might find an apple tree somewhere. But normally don't find these types of, it's not a climate that things grow. So again, you're not mukhayyiv. Again, it's a bracha that if you happen to see it, then you could do it. You should try to do it, okay, in the month of it. It's 2 trees, you only make it once a year. But it's interesting, they always ask the kids especially, how many brachas do you only make once a year?
One.
How many brachas do you make? Do you only make that bracha once a year? So there's a few brachas that you make only once a year. This is one of them. If you see the trees, you only make it once a year. Another, what? So if you make 2, you do it 2 both days. So a bracha you make only once a year. Okay? So that's one, is this. Then you have, I just had all of them in my head. Then you have the bracha when you do bedikas chametz. You make a bracha, sheksham mitzvah al biur chametz. When you do bedika, that we'll learn. So that's also once a year. The bracha lahadik ner sheyem kippurim is once a year. There's very few brachas that your mamish say, I would say 2 nights. In Israel, Taki, you're right, and they say the bracha only once a year. But in Chutz La'aretz, we say it both nights, we say twice a year. So there's like very few brachas. What? Nachem, yeah, Bein Yerushalayim, but the bracha Bein Yerushalayim is say in Shmoneh Esrei anyway. These are unique brachas that mamish you only say once a year. These are the very few brachas that comes up that you say 1 a year. Some people are machmir to make with a minyan. We don't. We just do it ourselves. Kids should be educated to do the brachas. Okay. Now let's continue in getting more closer to Pesach. Okay. Now Pesach is very unique. That there's a mitzvah by Pesach to do bedikas chametz. You have to search the house and make sure you get rid of all the chametz. There's no mitzvah. There is no mitzvah in the it's a rabbinic mitzvah, by the way, bedikas chametz, without getting into all the lumdus of it. But there's no mitzvah in the Torah, bedikas chazer. There's no mitzvah in the Torah. You have to check your house to make sure there's no tray for food in it. Why is by chametz? Chacham is so machmir that you have to do bedikas chametz. You have an obligation. It's a rabbinic obligation. If you do bittul, that you have to do bedikas chametz. So Taisa says one of the reasons for this that Rishonim write is because chazer you never eat. It's something treif you never eat. Chametz you're eating a whole year. You're eating chametz. So now a person will forget, it's kosher, but it's chametz. So therefore, you have bedikas chametz because it's more strict, because it's more common, so to speak, that you have chametz in the house a whole year. So therefore, the chametz said you have to do bedikas chametz to make sure you get rid of the chametz. That's one thing with bedikas chametz. Another reason why bedikas chametz is so strict, because most treifa things, when you mix meat and milk, or you have tray falls into food. So normally it's bottled 1 in 60, right? If a little bit of milk, 1 ounce of milk falls into 80 ounces of chicken soup, it's bottled, so it's kosher. Chametz am Pesach is not bottled at all. Chametz asur b'mashu. That means if a drop of chametz falls into a 100-gallon pot of non-gebrox matzah ball soup, okay? The whole soup is straight from Pesach. It's bottled 1 in 1,000 even. Chametz on Pesach is asur b'mashu, any amount. So because it's asur b'mashu, the Chachamim were much stricter when it comes to the whole concept of Pesach, that we have to be stricter than we are a whole year. And we mentioned the other day that the Arizal writes, whoever is meticulous not to have even a drop of chametz during Pesach is guaranteed not to sin a whole year. So therefore the Chachamim were very strict. You have to search for chametz, you have to get rid of the chametz. If you want to, you can't even use the utensils. And that's what I want to get into starting a little bit now. We're not going to learn all the million details, but general concepts of kashrut are very important. What?
By the bedikas chametz, the mitzvah is bedika or biyur?
What's the question?
Is the mitzvah searching for the chametz or burning the
Yes,
chametz?
the mitzvah, the bracha is
The bracha is al bir chametz. So it says in Shulchan Aruch, why is the bracha al bir chametz, not al bedikas chametz? Because the main purpose of searching is that if you find something, you're going to burn it. And we'll learn later, when we learn the din on bedikas chametz, even if you don't find anything in the bedika, the whole house is clean. I mean, today, what do you find already in the house? I mean, it's cleaned already for Pesach. You're looking, you have to look properly. But the mitzvah, and in fact, everybody knows there's a minute you put out 10 pieces of bread. Yeah? There's a minute. Why? In case you should have what to burn. That you're finding chametz, you'll have what to burn. And you got a mitzvah of burning chametz. But the Alter Rebbe says in Shulchan Aruch, and all the poskim write this, that you really don't have to. It's a minig. But it's no chiyuv to put out the 10 pieces of bread. Why? The mitzvah Chachamim said is to search for chametz. The mitzvah is not to find chametz. The mitzvah is to search. You search, you don't find, you still did the mitzvah. That's what the mitzvah is, to search for chametz. So there's a Kabbalistic reason why you put out 10 pieces of bread. You should have a kazayas to burn, and then you mekayim a mitzvah of tashbisu, of destroying the chametz, things like that. But the mitzvah of bedikas chametz is to search for chametz. What?
You have to do Pesach, this is Tchumim.
No, Erev Tchumim for sure. Erev Chatzeres. No, it's only if you want to carry between apartments and... No, that's not... That's a separate din. It's a din in Hilchos Shabbos, not in Hilchos Pesach.
If
If you don't find chametz, you don't burn?
If you don't find chametz, you don't burn. What are you going to burn?
Yeah. We're burning
But some people, there's a minig, people have to put out 10 pieces of bread. Why? Then now you have what to burn. And then when you're burning, you also get a mitzvah of tashbisu. But remember, tashbisu destroy chametz, which, according to all opinions, you're yaitzer by burning it. So the reason my minig Yisrael Torah is that you should have what to burn, that you'll be kind of mitzvah of tashbisu also. That's why when people put out the 10 pieces of bread, ideally, each piece should be small. In case you can't find it, then it's less than a kazayas, so it's not a big halachic problem. But altogether, it should be a kazayas. Why should altogether be a kazayas? To them, when you're burning the chametz, you're burning something substantial. So then you get a mitzvah of tashbiso. What?
A couple of times I couldn't find the 10 piece, so maybe this year I'll put the 11 piece, so I'll find the 10.
I have a better idea. The way you're talking, I think when you go to the safari in Africa to see the elephants, then you can assume the elephant ate up the 11th piece of bread. So then you won't have any problems with it.